everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Peanut City Police. This week, we are joined by Senior Administrative Analyst Allison VanPeeren. Allison, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
She's also, to mention, our Civilian of the Year. So first off, congratulations on your award just received last night.
Thank you.
But to get that award, a lot of what you do is grants. You get the police department grants. So can you take us through the process of finding a grant, seeing if it's a fit for our department, and then writing it?
It's a lot of, obviously, research through different grant portals that I have to become a member of. So you create accounts with different agencies. Most of our grants are federal grants, believe it or not. We do get state grants as well from the Department of Criminal Justice Services, but most of our grants are federal grants. So once you sign up for memberships, they'll send you emails, usually on a weekly basis, with funding opportunities that either apply to you or they don't. And you get to pick and choose kind of which ones will apply to you. And then I'll let our command staff know, like, hey, there are these opportunities that are open for funding, and see what it is that the department may need, and get their requests or wishes, like create a wish list, so to speak, of what they want. And then, write the grant, which takes a long time to do, and submit the grant to the agency, and then it's a waiting game for them to respond. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Being one person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are some of the things you have been able to get for the department through the grants?
Gosh, okay. I think one of the biggest, most recent things that I was able to acquire was a new boat for the department. The boat that we had was well over 10 years old, had been through many repairs, so it was time to get a new boat for our search and rescue team and our dive team, because they, believe it or not, do put that to use quite often. And so that was one of the bigger things that recently was able to get. I think one of the things I'm most proud of for our CSI unit was new technology for ballistic forensics, comparing cartridge casings and linking those cartridge casings to different crimes to help solve the crime quicker, because they were having to go to another jurisdiction to do that, which took time away from here. So now they don't have to, because we have the technology in-house, so that's really great. And I know they were super excited to get that. Yeah, we've been wanting that for years, and we were finally able to get it, because it's really expensive technology. So we were able to get that. Some of the other things, our real-time crime center should be up and running hopefully in the next year or so. And that was also money received on a grant to be able to get that, because with our flock cameras that we have throughout the city that most of you probably know about, and our license plate readers, it'll link all of that up so that we can, see crimes in real time, and hopefully get to solve those quicker as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned there kind of how you're helping so many different parts of the police department, CSI, the emergency communications, the Marine Patrol dive team. And so last year you were able to get more than $325,000 for the department in grant funding. So you kind of hit on it a little bit, but can you talk about how that funding helps keep our department up to date with the newest technology, which ultimately keeps our officers and community more safe?
Sure. Obviously, technology and training, of course, it's ever changing. The more, obviously, the years go by, technology is more advanced, and we always, Suffolk Police Department always is trying to advance our technology base so that we can obviously be competitive with other, agencies as well. So technology is really, really key. So that's one of the things I usually try to look for, is updated technology for the officers and the different units within the department so that we can stay up to date. And of course, training is super important too. So some of the money that we get awards for is for training because that's important, to keep our officers and, investigators up to date with training. So, whether it's training for, like I said, the detectives or training for even command staff, everybody needs training specific to their job. So it's super important to do that.
Thank you. Now, can you talk about what it's like to find a grant, write it, have our department awarded with the grant, and then see it come to fruition, especially being that the work you put in may sometimes go unnoticed?
In order to even apply for the grant, usually what in-house behind the scenes goes on before I do that is whether it's an officer or detective, anyone in the department can, send a letter up their chain of command to the chief to see if it's something that he may approve for our department to acquire. And then once it is, I get those memos, and then I'm the one that's responsible for writing the grant. So then that's how I know what to write the grant for. And each agency, whether it's federal or state governmental agency, is different in how the grant's written, what it is they want. So every grant is not like you can cut and paste from something else because everything is different every time. And then I'll write the grant for, why we need it, do we currently not have the technology, why does it need updating, or why does this unit need training, to justify why it is we need the things, and then submit it. And usually it takes a good 2 to 4 months to hear back.
Wow.
And then once I get that email notification, I get super excited that we got the funding. And then I let our command staff know that it's been funded and when we can start spending the money. And then I have to keep track of all of the grants. I can keep track of up to 15 grants at a time.
Wow.
And it's just me that does all of that. So I keep my own spreadsheets. And obviously I work with our finance department for the city, and of course command staff too. Everybody kind of works together here. We help each other. But I have to write quarterly reports, semi-annual reports, final reports for all of the grants.
Wow.
Because they have to know that we're using the money the way we should and spending it the way we should. So yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It is, but it's good to see once we get the items, the technology, whatever it is that we're using the money for. It's good to see it put to use, helping the citizens stay safe, solving the crimes, training our employees. That's what's most important. So that's the part I like.
Good. Good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything else you would like to add about the work you do or the importance of grants in the police department?
I think a lot of people out in society have a misunderstanding or a misconception of how it is departments get the things, the toys, as a lot of people like to say, get. I see a lot of comments about, police departments got this or this new thing or that new thing, the city must be doing well. That's kind of a misunderstanding. Yes, we certainly do get funding from our locality, but there's always a shortfall in budgets, and that's everywhere, and Suffolk is no different. We're always going to need more money, especially for police departments to stay on top of things and be able to do the work they do. So it's important to have grants, and we're lucky to be able to have grant funding out there, to spend on these things, because without it, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't be able to do. A lot of departments in general wouldn't be able to do, and times have changed so much with law enforcement, and it's important to keep our officers safe is number one priority, and a lot of what we're able to get keeps them safe to be able to solve the crimes and to be able to keep then our citizens safe. And that's what we want to do, and that's what we're here at the Suffolk Police Department to do. So it's wonderful that we're able to get these things through grant funding. It's super important.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And, you know, I know everyone here is grateful for the work you do, even though
Yes.
it kind of seems like it goes unnoticed. Once they get that, I think they're very appreciative because, like you said, our top priority is safety of our people, but our community as well.
Yes.
So thank you for what you do. I appreciate it. And thank you for joining us here today on the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching this week's episode of Peanut City Police, and we will see you next week.